Luke and Luca's back. Week 3 is in the books, and we're looking ahead to week 4. Today is all about predicting the future and maybe doing some betting of our own. So how's it going? How you feeling after 3 weeks of NFL football?
I'm going to warn you, Luke. I don't know if you want to play this game with me right now. I feel like most of my calls have been pretty solid so far. So I don't know. If you're a gambling man, you might want to throw some bets out there, but we'll see.
You're on fire right now, so you know what? Everyone watching, take some notes while you're watching this, because you might have some good bets if you've got some money lying around. Let's start with the game of the week. Game everyone's going to be talking about. Might not be the game of the week on paper, but the one that has the most intrigue is obviously Tom Brady going back to New England. It's his first game in Foxborough since 2019. The last game he played there, he actually lost, averaging just under 2 touchdowns per game in his career in Foxborough. So I want to know the over-under. I think it's safe to set at 2 touchdown passes. He leads the NFL in touchdown passes right now with 10. Are you going over that number in Tom's return, or are you going under?
This is a tough one for me, Luca, and I'll explain why. Naturally, I want to go over, and I want to go over by 5 or 6. I expect Tom to come out here and throw 7 touchdowns and set every record of all time. But my 6th year in 2018, when I was playing for the Lions, we went 6-10, and one of the games we won was actually a Sunday night game at home against Tom Brady in the New England Patriots. And Matt Patricia seemed to have the most knowledge about Tom Brady, what he liked, what he didn't like, what made him a little uncomfortable. So as much as Tom is on fire, I have a feeling that, Bill's going to have some tricks up his sleeves. He is a defensive genius. So I think 2 is a good number. I'm actually going to take the under. And I feel like I just made a grave mistake, but I'm going to take the under on that.
That's a bold one, but you know what? I'm going to go the over just because of how well he's playing. But at the same time, I mean, we've seen it with Bill Belichick so many times over the years. He does things on defense that really, like Sam Darnold found out a few years ago, make you see ghosts. And so there's definitely going to be a curveball in there that Bill Belichick throws at him. And he wants to win this one just as much as Tom does, because a lot of the talk has been, can Bill win without Tom? Can Tom win without Bill? We saw what Tom did, and Belichick's struggling a little bit trying to find his footing with a rookie quarterback. So I could see it going under too. It's a really tough kind of toss-up call between the two.
It's going to be a wild chess match, I feel like, between Tom and Bill Belichick and just kind of what they're calling. So I think it'll be very fun to watch if you're a football fan.
When you kind of preparing to play the Patriots and attacking them on defense, is there something that you remember about those game weeks preparing for them specifically that was just different about other teams and what Belichick did and what they brought on defense?
I think that was very impressive, especially the year that we lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl. It was the only game in my career where we prepared for 2 different structures of defense. And what I mean by that is most teams come out in either a 4-3 in their base defense or a 3-4. For the non-football fans out there, that's just the amount of linemen versus the amount of linebackers. That's kind of how, you play in your base structure. So that season, when we were going into the Super Bowl, they had actually switched within halves of games. So they'd play the first half in a 4-3, front on base defense, and the second half in a 3-4, which is really unheard of. And also, like you said, Luca, a lot of studying goes to, especially late in the year, hey, these are this team's tendencies. And of course, teams try to break their own tendencies. But with the New England Patriots, it almost seemed like they had a completely different game plan for each game, and they had no tendencies. So you almost had to figure out their tendencies in the first quarter and then kind of adjust to that. It is a bit of a challenge going against a Patriot-style defense just because you just don't know, what curveball is coming, and they have, no fear in pulling out something completely new that they haven't shown in a game.
That sounds like a nightmare to kind of do it on the fly, like you said, just in the middle of games and see what you've got in the first quarter and then try to adjust that on the fly. That seems like a difficult and tall task, and we'll see how good Tom Brady and Bruce Arians and company are at doing that. I want to stick with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a second here, because they made another big move, as if this game couldn't get any bigger. They went out and signed Richard Sherman to a 1-year deal worth over $2 million. The reason being, Tampa Bay has not been able to stop anyone in the passing game. They've allowed the most passing yards in the NFL. They've got the fewest sacks, which is surprising when you think of kind of what they did to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, and they brought every single person back. So bringing in a guy like Richard Sherman is going to be a benefit for them. He's still playing at a high level. But as far as interceptions go, the interception numbers have kind of dropped, and I think that's because people just respect the hell out of him. So I want to know, Richard Sherman, you going over or under 3 interceptions for him this season?
I'm going to go under, but that being said, I think Richard Sherman's value is going to transcend far beyond what he can do in the field. And the reason I'm going to go under is, I mean, we'll see this weekend, but I have a feeling that they'll probably gradually start to get Sherm, more acclimated. I don't think they're just going to throw him in for, 80% of the snaps this week. So it's not really a performance thing. I just think it'll be more of an opportunity thing as far as the 3 interceptions go. But I do think, like you said, Luca, one of his values is going to be he's extremely, extremely intelligent when it comes to reading offenses and really knowing offensive schemes. A guy like him in that locker room will be able to help the younger guys. He's a guy that loves giving advice to younger players. Everybody respects him, and he also is loved because he shares all the knowledge that he has, trying to make those around him better. So again, I'm going to go under, but it's going to be more for lack of opportunity.
You mentioned those young guys, Carlton Davis, Antoine Winfield Jr., just to name a couple, Sean Murphy-Bunting. That secondary is very young, and so having a veteran, future Hall of Fame lockdown corner, I can only imagine what that's going to do for the confidence of those guys. I want to ask you about Richard, obviously, because he's very much larger than life, and he's never been afraid to say what's on his mind.
Well, I'm the best corner in the game. When you try me with a sorry receiver like Crabtree, that's the result you're going to get.
What is he like? Is he that fiery, loud guy we've seen in those sound bites every single day, or is he more reserved?
When it comes to business, which is on the field for him in practice, there is not a more intense competitor that I've been around. And he pushes, he pushes the envelope, he pushes himself, he pushes people around him. And as soon as he steps off the field, it's one big family. And, I was watching an interview with him, and he mentioned that about him and Tom, saying that their off the field relationship has always been solid, despite what might have happened on the field. But that's the way, Sherm is. And I think that'll take that defense to another level as well. It'll be fun to watch if they really rally around him.
And you think of your time with him in Seattle, do you have a kind of moment that sticks out to you or story that sticks out to you?
Some of them shall remain in the locker room, but as far as my favorite story off the field, this one kind of sticks in my head, but Pete Carroll had brought in somewhat of a motivational speaker once, and the individual kind of gave us a chat, and some of the things that were said were great, but maybe a little generic, and I don't know what it was that day, but when we got to the Q&A part, Sherm kind of asked, maybe some of the speakers are more accustomed to layup questions, but Sherm asked a couple tough ones, and then once he said that, it was kind of, the boys got all fired up, and the questions started following. Like I said, he was kind of the leader, so it was funny as a player. I haven't really been in a situation where the motivational speaker gets roasted after they're done their speech, but that's something that'll always stick with me.
I feel like only Richard Sherman could do that. Let's stick with Seattle, because this is going to be a bit of a personal bet between me and you, okay? Obviously, you're back in Seattle. My favorite team is the Denver Broncos, so we've got some history there. I'm not going to tell you how you ruined my Super Bowl party by halftime, and I invited all my high school friends over, and by halftime we were absolutely just doing other things because it was over, and I was so sad and depressed. But I'm very happy for you that you were able to live out a dream and win a Super Bowl. I don't hold a grudge anymore, okay? That's all I'm saying. But what I want to do is see who's going to win more games this year. Denver's off to a 3-0 start. Seattle's struggling a little bit, so who's going to win more games? Are you going to jump over to the Broncos, or are you going to stick with your Seahawks?
I'm going to have to stick with Seattle on this, Luca. I understand right now there's a little discrepancy, but I got a feeling that Denver's in for a rude awakening soon, and Seattle's got a tough schedule ahead, but I got faith in my boys out there. I think Russ will make some miracles happen, as he always seems to, and the defense will get it figured out, and they'll get back on track soon. So I'm definitely rolling with Seattle on that one.
I respect it. I have to go with Denver, obviously a 3-0 start. Teddy B's been pretty solid, and their defense has ranked near the top of the league in all these major categories, especially against the pass. So we'll see if they can string together some wins here, and we'll decide on what the bet is after.
Sounds great. I'm feeling pretty confident about that, Luca. I'm not gonna lie. I'm feeling pretty good about it.
I'm terrified of this. I don't know what I just signed myself up for, especially based on how Denver's played in recent years. I know not to bet with this team from what I've seen in recent years, but I'm going to do this to myself again, and we're going to hope for the best here.
Love it. I mean, that's a true fan. I respect it.
Speaking of true fandom, gotta respect this. The Ravens fan that is putting a tattoo on his body for every single game that the Baltimore Ravens win this season. That guy's got so much respect in my books. The Chiefs win, his tattoo was kind of just the final score. But the Ravens win, there was obviously that moment with Justin Tucker breaking the NFL record for longest field goal in a game.
That one was something else.
So the Ravens have a tough schedule going forward as well. They haven't played any divisional games, and the Bengals look pretty good. The Browns look really good. I want to set the over-under, let's say at 11. How many tattoos is our Ravens fan going to get this year? Is it going to be 11 or more?
I'm going to go with more. I don't know if it's luck, if it's destiny, whatever you want to call it or believe in. But that team's got something special going on. And when you can win games like that, that's good juju all the way around. So I'm going to go over with that. Lamar Jackson is, an incredible teammate, an incredible person, and obviously an incredible player, and just seems to find a way to get them in the game, late in the game, and have Justin Tucker just boot a field goal through, whether it's 66 yards or shorter. It doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go definitely over on the 11 wins.
Best kicker in NFL history for sure. I think I'm going to join you on the over as well. Lamar leads the NFL in yards per completion and yards per carry. That seems ridiculous for a guy that is a quarterback. He's the best runner in football, and he's throwing the ball downfield, making big plays. They're also getting a couple wide receivers back, including Rashad Bateman, who they're really excited about. I'm just more worried about our Baltimore Ravens fan because I don't know if he's got the room for all of these tattoos. He's got to get 10 more tattoos, and if these games kind of have dramatic endings like this one did, I don't know if just the final score is going to be enough. I'm worried about him.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And to be honest with you, if they don't win the Super Bowl, it's like, so you have a regular season record tattooed on your body of what, a team that gets to the divisional round? Like, that's just not a good look, my guy. I mean, I don't know what the rush is to get the tattoo right off the bat here. Like, again, if they make a crazy playoff run, it ends up being a historic season, you can still go back and get all the ink you want. So I don't know what my guy is doing over there, but that's an aggressive play right now. I mean, they're 2-1.
Over under on bad decisions made might be over 11 too by the end of the season. We'll see. We'll see. The last three I want to focus on here are some personalized records that have not been broken for a long period of time and an MVP one. So let's start with MVP bets. Matt Stafford and Derek Carr are having incredible seasons. Both of their teams are 3-0. Both have kind of turned around the conversation on their careers thus far, because you look at Matthew Stafford, he was a guy in Detroit that never made the playoffs. You looked at him and you were like, he's got the arm talent. He is one of the most talented, pure passers of the football that we have in this league, but it never translated to success. Now he's in LA, he's turned that around. And Derek Carr, you look at him, people want him to be aggressive and more aggressive, and he looks as comfortable as ever in that system with John Gruden. They really seem to be on the same page. Either one of those is a good bet for MVP, but which one is a better bet for MVP?
I'm going to go with Matt Stafford, and that's no disrespect or no shade to Derek Carr. I like the idea in the offense that Matt Stafford is running. I think it's a little more balanced, a little more intermediate passing, short passing. There's some play action. He's got the deep threat, where I think that sometimes Oakland gets a little limited in their scope of what they're trying to do. Derek Carr is a phenomenal quarterback. I think he's been underrated his entire career. And like you said, having spent a camp with Oakland, now Las Vegas, he's very, very talented. But I just, Matt Stafford to me is the most underrated quarterback in the league and is right there with talent-wise with everybody else. And everybody in the NFL knows that. And I think now that he's in a better situation than Detroit, I just think the sky is the limit for the Rams and for Matt Stafford. And I'm a gambling man. I'm definitely, if you haven't already, I'm putting some money on Matt Stafford to win MVP.
I think I tend to agree with you as well. Stafford just inspires more confidence in me. But I will say, Derek Carr's on pace to throw for almost 7,000 yards. It's 6,817 right now as we speak. That's what he's on pace for. And he leads the NFL in passes over 20 yards. So I don't know how sustainable that is, but if he somehow throws for over 5,000 yards and this Raiders team is atop the AFC West, he might be hard to ignore too.
He might be a shoo-in if he can keep this going.
You mentioned Matt Stafford and that Rams offense. There's a guy on there that's having an incredible year outside of Stafford, and that's Cooper Kupp. He seems to be the guy that Stafford looks for in every high-pressure situation. Long ball, screen passes. He's a phenomenal route runner, especially for when you consider that he's over 6 feet tall, and he runs these phenomenal routes that you just can't cover him in man-to-man coverage. He's on pace for over 2,000 yards receiving right now. That's asking a lot. I know it's only 3 weeks. Do you think he goes over that 2,000-yard mark, or do you think he falls short of that?
Okay, I'm gonna get a little wild here, Luca, but with the 17th
Whoa.
game, I'm gonna say that yes, he does, barring
Wow,
he
I
doesn't
love
get
it.
injured. So again, I know I'm putting a disclaimer on that. I'm being a little cheap, but if he is healthy and plays all 17 games, I am gonna take the over on that and say that he will be the first receiver that hits that 2,000-yard receiving mark. Through 3 games, just the chemistry that those two seem to have, I just think it's going to continually get better and better. And again, I know I'm all over it here, but I'm a big Matt Stafford fan and believer in what he's able to do. And I think that Cooper Kupp, like you said, his size, his route running, his ability to kind of do everything, it's going to be very tough. And then last piece of the puzzle here is they have other weapons. You can't just double Cooper Kupp. You saw Deshaun Jackson go off a couple weeks ago. So it's not like one of those situations where you can just lock in on Cooper Kupp and let these other guys go nuts. So again, I'm going to go with the over. I know it's a little insane, but I think he's going to do it.
I want it to be over so badly, but I think I'm going under, and I think Calvin Johnson's record is still going to stand. That season was incredible, and there was an 8-game stretch he had. I looked this up. I've never seen anything like this before. 8-game stretch, he had 115 targets, 76 catches, 1,200 yards, and I think it was 4 touchdowns. That's what some receivers get in a whole season.
Now, Luca, let me ask you, who is his quarterback then?
Matthew Stafford. Okay. You know what? You've convinced me. I'm going the over. Send it over.
Send it over, my guy. Let's go. Let's get on the bandwagon while there's still space.
You know what? You've convinced me. I'm going the over. I love that. That was great.
Love it. We're riding.
I love it. And we can always revisit these, and we are going to revisit these at some point to see how we did. And let us know your best bets in the comments below, or things that you agree with what we had to say, where we went wrong. Let us know, and we'll be sure to kind of address these when they do come true or not. The last prediction I want for you is Seattle going to win this weekend. Give me it.
It hurts my heart to say this, but I don't think so.
No, you're taking them for the L.
Seeing the Niners kind of come off last week, I think the defense for Seattle's got some issues right now. I don't love it, Luca. It hurts me. As you can see, I'm stumbling through this, but I don't love the matchup for my boys this week.
Luke Willson, thank you as always for joining me, and we'll be back next Friday with something fresh, something new, and we'll go over some of these predictions.
Appreciate it, Luca. Thank you.